It's your favorite super duper mother daughter duo coming to you with all the positive vibes and helping you become exactly who you want to be. We're giving out all the good stuff on this podcast, and it's your host Tekoa and Sarah. So grab your mug because it's time for tea. Hi everyone, it's time for tea, where we are teaching, empowering, and applying. I'm Tekoa.
And I'm the Sarah.
And today we are talking about the subconscious versus the conscious mind, the battle within our own brains.
This is such a good topic.
So
I'm just
good.
excited about this one. So I'm going to do the definition of the conscious and subconscious mind,
Give
okay?
it to us.
Okay, conscious mind, aware of and responding to one's surroundings, awake. So you're awake.
Yep.
It's a creative mind. This is where our wishes, desires, and aspiration lies. Okay. Now, the subconscious. This is a part of our mind that notices and remembers information when you are not actively trying to do so. And it influences behavior even though you do not realize it. So that's your subconscious.
Yeah. So it's like your conscious, just think of it as what's in your eyes, what you see, what you envision for yourself. And then your subconscious are those thoughts that just pop up.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
could be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to go make new friends." And then you hear that, well, you know what happened last time you went out and made friends? Subconscious and conscious, conscious and subconscious.
Correct. So let's talk about what that subconscious is, T.
The enemy. So
It's the devil.
it depends. So the subconscious, which is so absurd, actually has programs downloaded from when you were 7 and under, and from the first trimester, the third trimester in your
The
mother's
third.
tummy to when you were age 7. Whatever you saw, whatever knowledge you gained, whatever programs your parents put into you at that age is usually what your subconscious holds on to and says, "This is it. This is normal." So if your mom told you don't go outside, you'll get hurt before age 7, after age 7, that is sitting in your subconscious and is being fed to you constantly without you knowing. The subconscious holds everything from birth until now. It holds all the data of your whole life. It's the most impressive computer we've ever never asked for.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm.
that is your subconscious. It has so much data inside of it. It can process multiple things at one time, whereas your conscious mind can process maybe 1 to 3, depending
Mm-hmm.
on how well of a multitasker you are. So your subconscious mind is that voice that gives you the good things that you say to yourself and the bad things that you say to yourself. I deal with a lot of clients and we talk about limited thinking, and that comes from your subconscious. We talk about things that were put into you when you were a child, negative sayings that people said, "Oh, you're fat, you'll never be successful, you can't do this, you can't do that, you don't know how to dress." All of those things are programmed into you, and then they stick with you throughout your whole life
Yep.
unless you get aware of what's going on with your subconscious, which is hard to do unless you're very self-aware and you know about it, and you retrain your brain, you reprogram your mind. Just as we work out our body, we have to work out our brains. We
Correct.
have to work out and train our minds.
Correct. Correct. And it says 70% of the information that we get that is programmed in our brains from the third trimester to 7 is negative, disempowering, and can be sabotaging. This information sits in our subconscious.
Yep, unfortunately. So, and we were just talking probably like a week ago, and I was like, it seems as though a lot of the things that the brain leans towards is negative. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know why that is, but the brain is just like, I just want to be a negative Nancy, and that's what it is. And you literally have to fight against that. And it makes sense because of the balance of good and evil. Everything that's good usually takes more work, more effort, and you have to do it with intention. So you have
Correct.
to be intentional when trying to combat your subconscious and get it to work for you. And the subconscious is even, I'll even go as far to say, it's a very literal part of you. It's literal. Like it takes everything literally. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to speak to it in a literal sense. And it does not do well with not complete statements. You have to be literal, you have to be direct, you have to paint the perfect picture for your subconscious mind to say, okay, this is happening, or okay, this is real. Like, I'm going to be successful because I'm going to have 3 different streams of income from this business, and this business, and before 5 years is up. And then your subconscious can say, okay, she's not crazy, rather than I'm going to be successful. And meanwhile, your subconscious is slowly whispering, no, you're not. You don't have a
Correct.
plan. You don't know what you're
Correct.
doing. You're not consistent. You procrastinate. Your subconscious is going to feed you that negativity, and you'll go into these habits. And that's something we'll get into. The subconscious holds all your habits.
Yeah. And 95% of your behavior is invisible even to you.
Yep. I know over
Even to
half of what
you.
you do every day is habit. So think about that. We don't even know. Unintentional habits.
You don't even
Scrolling
know.
through your phone, you're feeding your subconscious data all day. What are you feeding your subconscious? We really have to get purposeful about what we want our subconscious to take in, because that will directly affect what happens in our lives. That will directly affect how we go into our day to day. Are you giving yourself knowledge and wisdom, or are you feeding yourself trash all day?
Mm-hmm.
Because that is
Mm-hmm.
what your subconscious is going to feed back into you.
So what you put in, you get out.
Literally, you are what you eat. It's the same thing. You are
Yeah.
what you sit down and do all day. And habits are so important. If you want to get anywhere in life, change your habits. And it's
Correct.
also said that in order to change the way you think subconsciously, you have to habitually start to improve your thinking. You have to make it habit. It takes about 21 days to
Mm-hmm.
improve upon a habit. That's about 3 weeks. I'll give it 28 days, give it a month to improve upon a habit. So that means you do it week 1, you do it week 2, you do it week 3, and then your
Mm-hmm.
subconscious starts to adapt that as normal, and it'll start to put it in the forefront of your consciousness. Hey, we
Correct.
should read a book because we've been reading books and this is our norm now, and this is what we should do. But originally, when you do it, your subconscious will battle you. We don't read books, we just scroll on our phone, or we sit on the
Mm-hmm.
toilet for an hour.
Or let's
This
take a
is
nap.
Yeah, are we taking nap? Are we taking nap? Or we go
Mm-hmm.
out and we get junk food? We don't cook at home. We order food. We order out. We
Mm-hmm.
spend our money on that. We have bad money habits. It's fine. It's what we do. So your subconscious is holding you back. And I saw a video that said no matter how much you try to amp up your consciousness is who we are right now. Right now, we're conscious is what we're doing. We're aware of
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing. And
Mm-hmm.
your consciousness can say, I want to be productive and I want to write this essay. Your subconscious will say, hey, we could just wait till last minute. Hey, we don't
Correct.
have to write it right now. We could do something more fun like play video games or binge watch TV because it's what
Mm-hmm.
it's used to doing.
Mm-hmm.
It might make it seem hard. It might make things that are new or that are hard work seem hard for you to do. And so that way you totally avoid them altogether. So you have to convince your subconscious that we are doing things now. We are being productive. And not only do you have to convince your subconscious, you literally have to fight it to get out of your normal and
Yeah.
and become this achiever that you want to be.
And it's only 5%. We only use 5% of our consciousness a day. 5%. So the rest of it is unconscious, which is your program, what you're used to without even thinking.
Which is crazy. So
Mm-hmm.
hack into your consciousness, become aware of who you are and what you want to do. Having a plan is so essential because then you know what you're moving towards and you can stay aware of that and you
Mm-hmm.
can keep moving because your subconscious is like not working for you at all until you get it to work for you. So
Yeah.
your subconscious is something that lives inside of you who is self-employed, and you have to say, no, I'm putting you on payroll now and you work for me. And we are
Mm-hmm.
doing this, and this. Yes, no, no,
This
you're
is what
not
I expect
self-employed.
from you to do.
Yep,
I expect you to do da 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 da.
yep. You're not on your own clock. You're not running things. You have to
Mm-hmm.
hack into your consciousness and be aware. You have to be intentional with
Yeah.
almost everything you're doing. Be intentional. Don't let your day just slide by, and to your subconscious self, be intentional.
Be intentional.
Mhm.
That's a good
So let's get into the empowering part. I know this is a lot to take in, and it's like, oh my gosh, do you have anything that's empowering? What can we do? Ah, ah. Or how can you let's talk about how you can even
Pray.
identify these thinking patterns. Like, how do you even know what is going on?
You know what? You really, if 95% of your day is your subconscious and you're not even aware that you're doing these negative things, then one of the things, as I was researching and looking at this and getting information, which is wonderful. I mean, this is really eye-opening for me, is that when you're in a situation, writing stuff down, because you don't even know what's going on. And a lot of people who are using their subconscious are people who are blaming others for their downfall. And so one of the things one of a doctor had stated when I was researching it is write it down. When you're going through something, write down what it is and see what your part is, and then sort of reflect it on where did this come from. So a lot of it is journaling, writing it down, because a lot of times we sabotage our own self because of our subconscious, because of our past, because someone else told us something and we've been holding on to this bad negative behavior. So writing it down, writing
Yep.
down things that when you're in a jam, when you're in a situation where
Mhm.
you're going down the wrong path, or you're doing something negative or bad and you're reaping the consequences. What part did you play? Why did this occur? And 95% of it is not someone else, it's you and your reaction to it, or how
Well,
you
we
reacted to
we had one of our first podcasts. Our first podcast episode was actually on generational trauma, and this literally ties right into those curses and that baggage that we carry along because we received these things before we were 7.
and we
So
don't
this
even know.
is things that were learned. So definitely pay attention to your environment. What are some things that you have that others may have that aren't necessarily beneficial for your subconscious mind? How can you get yourself in a positive thinking pattern? What can you tell yourself daily that will affirm that you are a good person, that you are a positive thinker, that you are motivated? And one of the things that people said was keep your body active. You don't have to work out, but get up and move.
Mhm.
Get outside of your comfort zone. So that way you have to trigger your consciousness. Your consciousness has to be triggered. And there was another thing too that I wanted to point out is the subconscious is also there to keep you safe as well. So if you walk into a room, you might feel bad, anxiety, oh, I should get out of here, and you'll leave. And your subconscious is a part of that. It'll tell you you're not safe here. You can't trust people, things of that nature. So you have to start looking into what am I saying in different environments? What am I saying to myself in the morning? What am I saying to myself when I have to do something? What are the things that I'm saying to myself and why?
Mhm. Correct, correct. And if this is this beneficial to me, or is this affecting me in a negative way?
Mhm. A simple example is just yesterday, I was like, I need to clean the bathroom. And immediately I said in my brain, I don't feel like it. That's my subconscious answer for a lot of things. And I had to tell my subconscious, I don't care. We have to do it. We have to do it. We're not going to feel like it. We have to do it. Another thing I had to do was clean the fish tank. I don't feel like it. So what? You have to do it. And then I did it, and it took me maybe like 15 minutes or something like that. And I'm like, wow, all of that putting off, all of that negative thinking, all of that relating this little task to going is that is going to bring me pain, that this is going to hurt me in some manner, and then I do it and it's done and I immediately feel better. So
Correct.
sometimes your subconscious is self-sabotaging you, having you hold off things, and then you feel bad about holding off these things and you spiral down where you got yourself in a rut when really you can tell yourself, we're going to do it. We have to do it.
Suck it up.
Yep. Suck it up. We're going to get it done and then we'll be done with it. And I promise we'll feel better afterwards. So it's
Right.
literally like talking to a little child in your brain. Like I said, it's very literal, and you have to talk to it. You have to prep it up for things. You have to comfort it when it's freaking out. You have to start to affirm those things to yourself so that your subconscious can be okay with change, with new things, with hard work, and it won't sabotage you.
Correct, correct, correct. That's good.
Yeah, it's
Reprogramming your mind, reprogramming your thought process.
absolutely insane.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. It is how your brain works is insane. So, all this researching, that's what it's like. Wow. It is a battle. every day with our brains, from the
Mm-hmm.
subconscious to the conscious. And I was unaware that the conscious even had where we have your wishes, desires, and aspiration is in your conscious. That's your now, what you see, your awakening. And we only utilize that 5%. So we're not even maximizing that part of what we're supposed to maximize. That's going to take us to our where we need to go. We stay in this 95% of funk and
Of
sabotage.
patterns.
It's like, whoa, we need to flip that thing,
Mm-hmm.
50
And
50.
so another thing also would be to identify what triggers you positively, what triggers you negatively, and work on that as well. When it comes to identifying these things, the subconscious is definitely working against your conscious, and
Definitely.
it's more powerful, 95% more powerful than your conscious. So that's why when people say I'm going to do such and such and it never happens, because their subconscious won,
It sabotaged them.
that the subconscious has taken over and it won. So that's why you can't just say I'm going to do blah blah blah. If your subconscious does not align with what you're saying, it will never come into fruition the way you want it to. Like, you might be able to bring it into fruition, but if you haven't already developed the habits, the patterns, the thought processes that need to go into the thing that you brought into fruition, it will crumble.
Yeah, yeah,
Your subconscious, unfortunately, is like your foundation.
yeah.
Your mental foundation. It's what everything is sitting on. And you have to,
It's hold on, I'm sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
no problem, go ahead.
No, it's your mental foundation, but it's not your real you. So it's your mental foundation with false information that has been gathered through your life from the beginning all the way up. So it's really not your true, it's not your true mortar.
I
It's
would say it is your true mortar. It is very your true mortar until you change it and reprogram it.
it's well then it's a if it's negative and all, then it's not your true, it's your false motor because other people have influenced you, and you're not that thought, that's other people's thought that is programmed in you, and you're operating on that and you're building on falseness from the get-go. If you were around false people, negative people, um or people that weren't, I don't want to say truthful, but that wasn't living a more productive life that will influence you in a positive way. Let me say it like that.
I agree. I agree. But those things that you take on and learn, they become your programs. You
Yeah.
know, we could have a good computer, but if the computer has crappy programs, that's what it is, until we take everything out and we re-download the positive. So one of the affirmations that I saw that really stuck out to me was, I am good. I am a good person. Good things happen to me. I bring about good people. Good people are surrounding me. It's to really retrain your brain that be the person you want to be. If you want to be a good person and you feel as though you're not completely good right now, speak that into your life and then wake up every day and strive to be that good person. If you
Mhm.
want to be a productive person, speak that into your life. I am productive. I am, because honestly, I don't think anybody on this earth is 100% where they want to be.
No.
There's always better. There's always more to strive for. So we're constantly reinventing what the real us is. We wake up every morning and, oh, today I'm doing blah, 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 because yesterday I watched a video that taught me that I should do this. I should study more. So today I'm studying more. So now the part of the new you is a person that studies. A part
Mhm.
of the old you might be a person that didn't like looking at books, didn't like reading. So we're constantly evolving and kind of shifting, who we are and what we think. And yeah, it sucks that the person that is us when we're programmed negatively is a negative thinking being, but that's the honest truth. You
Mhm.
have to fight against that. You have
You
to
have to fight.
combat against those thoughts. You can't just wake up and say, "Hi, I'm positive." It doesn't work that way.
That's
It
not
Yeah, we're not and I would say we're not butterflies, but we are, because butterflies go into cocoons and they sit in that thing for a while. They don't come out the next day a butterfly. They have
Mhm.
to go through a transformation, just
Mhm.
like we have to go through a transformation. Change takes time, change takes patience, and change takes intent. And that's what I want. That word is what I want to focus on: intent. You have
Yeah.
to be intentional about who you want to be, what you want to think, how you want to think it, when you want to do things, and then you have to start doing it. You have to start programming yourself. You have to be intentional. Being a good person, being that true you that you want to be doesn't happen accidentally. It doesn't happen accidentally. It happens through self awareness and learning that who I am right now is not who I want to be tomorrow.
Correct.
So I'm going to make these changes and I'm going to reprogram myself. And we
And it
could
takes
get
work.
into it's a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's
And,
a
and
lot of
and
work.
that's the thing with people. Everybody want it now. They want instantaneous gratification, and that's not how it. When you're working on you, and that's why a lot of people stay where they're at, stuck, because a lot of us don't want to do the work. We don't want to grow. We don't want to expand. We want to stay where we're at. We want to sit where we're at. We want to complain. We want better. We want it, but we don't want to do what it takes, and it takes work.
Takes work. 90% of the population, they complain in most of their conversations. They don't talk about a lot of positive things. They like to complain. That's 90%. And also, I'm glad you touched on that, because we live in a society where Amazon could drop stuff off at your door. We live in an instant gratification society, and that
Microwave generation.
right away, that also feeds into the subconscious. When you don't
Hmm.
give a kid what they want, what do? They throw a fit because
Yes,
they
they do.
want it now. And if you feed into that, then they learn that they can get things now. So when you tell
Mhm.
your brain, hey, we have to do this essay, or we have to do, whatever it is for a later reward, your brain doesn't comprehend that because it wants what it wants now. Instant
Mhm.
gratification is so tasty and delicious. And who wants to wait?
Correct.
So I'm glad you touched on that. We live in a world where we want things now, and success doesn't work that way.
No,
Change
and
doesn't work that way.
reprogramming your subconscious mind doesn't work that way. It's not an overnight sensation. It is a working every day trying to build on this, to deprogram and to reprogram,
It's for
because you
the
got to
rest
take
of
out the
your
old to
life.
bring in the new. You got to override one for the other. Take the positive to override that negative.
It's like
So,
dealing with addiction. Just because you stop drinking, it's day one, that you have to get to day 687.
and it doesn't go away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
that
have
that
to
urge
continue.
never goes away.
Nope, you have to continue to be
Hmm.
strong, to tell yourself what you want. That's why intentional, you have to be intentional.
Yeah.
I want to think more positive. I want to get rid of my limited thinking, of my limited mindset. I want to know that I can do any and everything, and I want to put that forward into the universe and walk into that knowing that I
Hmm.
can. And I don't want my subconscious to hold me back from that. And you
Correct.
literally have to tell yourself that. You have to talk to your subconscious and let it know. So positive affirmations are powerful. How
Hmm.
we fold.
Yeah.
Do your positive affirmations, and we'll get into, all that you can apply and work on to change your subconscious. So you mentioned journaling.
Correct.
Magnificent. Because then you really get to know yourself, especially if you're upset. Journal and then look back at it and say, was I really meant to be upset here? Or was I at fault in any of these situations? Why
Correct.
was I triggered by this? I talked about triggers. What triggered me? Did something in the past happen that was relatively similar that caused me to be upset? So definitely look at that. Don't be quick to be angered. We talk about that in our love podcast episode. So definitely look at that. Don't get furious. Think about it. Take your time. Go over your emotions and process it. Practicing affirmations, that's a good one. Everything you want, whatever your brain is telling you, think of that and do the negative. Write the negative. Say the negative in the opposite in the mirror. I don't want to say negative, but say the opposite of whatever it is that you're telling yourself in the mirror if it's not positively serving you.
Correct.
Whatever it is. I'm not beautiful. Look in the mirror. I'm gorgeous. I'm wonderfully made. My flaws, they just make my best attributes stand out even more.
Mhm.
Focus on the positive in you and speak that into you to kind of get your subconscious to change and view life differently. Another one is continue to be aware of your habits and thoughts. Like we said, a lot of what we do, we don't know we're doing.
Yep. 95% of it.
Yeah. So be aware of your habits. Look back. I did a meditation and it told me to look back on how my whole day went. And do you know I could literally walk through my whole day from when I woke up to when I was laying in bed. And I said, I've never done that before. I
Really?
never consciously went back and viewed how my day went. What would I change? What would I do differently? What could I do better? I've never done that. How
Mhm.
amazing was that to literally rewind my day in my mind and be able to see everything I did throughout the day? So that is a practice that you should take on and try to do while you're laying down in bed and you're relaxing. Think back. How did my day go from when I woke up? So when I went to sleep, was there anything I could do differently? Was there anything
Mhm.
I could have reacted towards differently? Was there something that didn't even deserve a reaction that I reacted towards?
Mhm.
Start to look at that. Why did I feel this way? Why did I think that way? Start to get into your subconscious and what it's doing day in and day out. And the last thing was the reprogramming while sleeping.
Yep.
It's like hypnosis. So one of the ways to reprogram is right before you fall asleep, if you plug in some headphones and you play positive affirmations, you play anything that is sounding good and positive in your ear, it'll reprogram into your brain and it'll
Correct.
start to change your subconscious, because when you go to sleep, your consciousness goes to sleep with you. When your eyes close, your
Correct.
consciousness closes.
Correct.
But your subconscious is always doing things, always
24
working.
hours.
The most wonderful computer on earth. Okay.
Mhm.
So start to download programs into your subconscious while you're sleeping. How great is that? It's like an update while you're sleeping. And then when you wake up, boom, you have these
Correct.
new thoughts. So start to do that. That is an excellent way to change your way of thinking, your subconscious mind. Anything else you want to touch on?
And one of the things that I was reading is one of a lot of well, a lot of wealthy people would utilize their subconscious right before they go to sleep for that purpose, of reprogramming their mind, because if that thing is working, the majority is reprogramming it. And even Edison, he went to sleep, and when he woke up, his subconscious created the light. So it's actually reprogramming and figuring out how to work this mind, versus this thing controlling you, you controlling it.
Yep.
How we can tap the conscious and the subconscious to work together, and how to do it in a way that we could change our ways, our thoughts in a positive way, and live the life that we're supposed to be living, and
Yes.
getting those things in our life that we're supposed to be getting without the struggle. So I have a quote from Thomas Edison.
Okay.
He said, "Never go to sleep without request to your subconscious." So I was reading also. Ooh, I was reading also. You can actually ask your subconscious a question before you go to bed, and your subconscious says it wants to act crazy. It works for you in a
Put
positive
it
way.
on.
It will find the answer while you're sleeping, and then in the morning, guess who's up? Your conscious, and you write that thing down early in the morning. As soon as you get up, your conscious is giving you the answer. Isn't that a wonderful?
Yep.
So
Put your
I have some
subconscious on
questions.
payroll. Yep.
I'm
And you
going to
got
bed with some questions.
you got to work for me now.
I'm gonna
And I
flip this
think that's
thing.
good. Yeah, because while you're
Work
sleeping, your
for me versus
subconscious.
against me. Work for me versus against me.
Hmm. And while you're sleeping, your subconscious is digging into all of your life,
Hmm.
things that you've come across, and it's going to find an answer. It's going
Hmm.
to do its best to find an answer. It wants to know, it wants to make connections.
So do me a favor, guys. When you all hear the video that night, ask your subconscious a question, write it down, and then put a comment at the bottom on what your conscious told you. I want to know. I'm just curious.
And when we say ask a question, like I'll give an example. It could be, how could I make $1,000 before the end of the month? How could I be a better mom? How could I be a
Be
better
a better
wife?
person.
How
Hmm.
could I be a better person? How can I identify the good and bad friends in my life? How can I identify the good and bad relationships? And your subconscious will dig and find those answers.
Hmm. Because it's already in us.
Yeah, it's already in us. We just have
Hmm.
to hack into our self and really pay attention. So we're reaching our 30-minute mark. Yes, this was a
So
good one.
you guys, let me tell you, we haven't even tapped into the information, all the information we
So much.
research, and it's so good. I mean, this is
Yeah.
almost like it should be a part 2
I
to
was
this
gonna
thing,
say that.
but it's crazy. It's so good, guys. So I want to do this before we end it. I want to give a shout out to my niece Taja. Hey,
Okay.
girl. And the reason is because, I was talking to her today, and she was like, Aunt, Auntie, I love this podcast that you and Tekoa is doing. And she's at the age of 21. So for a 21-year-old to love what we're saying, that's wonderful to my heart, because you can't, like, it just they're too busy. So I want to thank her, and I'm so glad that she's enjoying it, and I hope that this helps her and her friends. Pass this word around, girl, to your peoples. Okay. All right. Love you, girl.
I love you and so proud of you. She's actually graduating from
Yeah.
FAMU in
Damn
Florida.
you.
So yeah, she got herself together all the way together. She's breaking generational curses. We
Yes.
are so proud of her. And I want to give a shout out to my friend Tanisha for supporting and watching. She's like, I'm excited for the next episode. And I'm excited that you're excited, girl. Keep watching, keep supporting. We love you all. And we hope you're learning.
Share.
Comment down below what you loved about this episode, what you learned. Did you do the subconscious practice, and did your conscious wake up and tell you something that you really needed to know? Let us know and keep us posted. All right, y'all. See you next time. Bye.
Hi, guys.
That's a wrap of today's episode. And once again, this is the podcast Time for Tea, where we are teaching, empowering, and applying and giving out weekly doses of some good stuff for your spirit. Hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Same time, same place. Bye.